Whoa, hey there, boys and girls. It's your favorite bad Magic the Gathering player. And by that, I mean I'm probably no one's favorite, but I'm still bad. So today, because I was bored and I'm waiting on something to finish uploading to YouTube, go figure, I thought I'd go over this dumb little deck I made. It's a modern deck, but it's not actually because it would be banned because it has one banned card. Ooh, so I threw together some junk, bought the fucking Teferi starter deck long time ago, threw in some more junk, whatever. So here's the fucking deck list. So the first three cards are the main strategy of the deck. So we have Teferi's Tutelage. When it enters the battlefield, I draw a card and discard a card. Whenever I draw a card, my opponent mills two cards. So we pair that with Peer into the Abyss, where target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life. So we also pair that with Reliquary Tower, where you have no maximum hand size. So ideally, you want to have Reliquary Tower and Teferi's Tutelage on the field. You peer yourself, draw half your deck, have that as your hand because you have no maximum hand size. Opponent decks out completely. That's ideally what you want to happen. Unfortunately, that's going to require you to pay at least 7 mana. So that's real unfortunate. But I thought I'd go ahead and go over the rest of the junk in the deck. So there's 4 Teferi's Tutelage. There's 4 Peer into the Abyss. There's 4 Reliquary Towers. And because this is just the starter deck only with things thrown in, 2 Spectral Sailors, because they just got that nice flash effect, flying 1/1s. For 4, you can draw a card. It's not bad. Fairy Vandal, just to have some board presence. It gets a 1/1 whenever you draw your second card. It's got flash and flying. It's not bad for an uncommon. Stormwing Entity, mainly because if you've played an instant or sorcery, it costs 2 less. So it's really only a 3-drop flying with prowess, and you get a scry 2 when it comes in. 2 copies of that in the deck. Next we have Gust of Wind, which obviously there's a few creatures in here with flying, aka all of them. Anyway, it just lets you bounce a creature and you draw a card. There's a lot of draw support in here. So we've got 3 of those. Next, we have, that's in the wrong order, but we'll go ahead and fucking get to it now. We have 2 Jwari Disruptions, which can be lands and are just cheap counterspells. We also have 2 Neutralize, wherever the fuck the art for that went, I don't have a clue. Oh, there it is. 2 Neutralize, it's 3-drop counter, can cycle it out for 2, gotta get that draw support. So then we have the ever-present staple to live by, opt 4 copies, scry 1, then draw a card. And the card that makes this deck banned in Modern is Preordain. Unfortunately, there's only 1 copy. Or maybe that's unfortunate that there's any copies in the deck, because that means it's banned. But Preordain's just such a goddamn good card. No wonder they banned it. Scry 2, then draw a card for 1? It's not bad. It's pretty fucking good. Anyway, that needs to go out of this deck, but I'll probably never play this deck again because I threw it together a while back and I haven't touched it at all. We have 3 Frantic Inventories. I don't know why there's not 4. This seems like the kind of card that you'd need to run 4 to really get the maximum value out of. 2-drop, draw a card, then draw cards equal to how many ever in your graveyard. It's pretty bad. It's not great. I'm pretty sure it just came with the deck and I didn't take it out. I don't know. This card seems more like a Yu-Gi-Oh card than a Magic card. It's really bad draw support. I don't know why I even left it in here. There were 3 copies of it, by the way. But next we have Glimpse of Freedom, which is just a cheap draw card, and then you can escape for 3, draw another card, which, with as many cards as you draw, with this deck, you should be able to pay the escape cost pretty easily. Excuse me. Next, we have Gadwick the Wizened. When he enters, you draw X cards, paying his X cost. And whenever you cast a blue spell, you tap a target non-land permanent an opponent controls. So, at his worst, he's a 3/3 for 3 that lets you tap down opponents' permanents. At his best, draws you like 3 to 5 cards, 3/3 that lets you tap down opponents' permanents. Not bad. Next, we have Madden Cacophony, just to get a little bit of extra mill on our opponent. Uh, you know, Pay 2, they mill 8 cards. Pay 6, they mill half their library. Pretty fun card. 6 is a little hard to hit with this deck, but, if you hit it, good for that. They fucking lost half their deck. Then we have Court of Cunning, another card to just get some mill stuff. So you become the Monarch when it hits the field. Normally, at the beginning of your upkeep with this card, you mill, or any number of target players each mill 2 cards. If you're the Monarch, they mill 10 instead. Pretty fun stuff. Then we got Sublime Epiphany, just kind of a wild card. You usually get 2 or 3 triggers off of this. It's pretty good. Just kind of got it in there. Only have 1 copy, unfortunately. A little high cost, but it's pretty good for what it's worth. Not lastly. Second to last, we have Dovin Hand of Control, because he's just a Planeswalker I had laying around. Mainly, he's there to help our draw cards cost less, and also we can prevent damage from a single source. So that's useful, since there's not a lot of field presence in this deck. Lastly, we have Jace Mirror Mage, because he was an extremely cheap Planeswalker, which I was able to just throw in here. So we can scry 2. Also, if we kicker this boy when he comes in, 5-drop, we get 2 copies of him, so that's pretty cool. 2 legendary Planeswalkers at the same time, pretty handy. So we can scry 2 up to twice per turn, pretty cool. Then we can draw a card up to twice per turn with Jace Mirror Mage. So that's pretty neat. Needless to say, there's only 1 copy of Jace and 1 copy of Dovin in this deck. Next, we just have the pretty Showcase Islands. There are 11 islands, and for swamps, we have 8 swamps. 8 of the pretty Showcase swamps. Honestly, I think the card art's kind of gaudy, but I had these, and they're better looking than normal lands for the most part, so I threw them in there. So, that's my bad mill deck. If you want to, you can tell me what you thought about it, but I doubt you will, because it requires time and effort to expend to let me know. Also, it's just a bad deck. It's not really even worth this video, but I was bored, and oh well. Bite me. So there you go. There's the video. The end. Goodbye.